acceptable in one community may not be acceptable or good in another community. Actually, it could be the ultimate opposite. ويعني سبحان الله للناس على اختلافهم تجد عادات مختلفة متنوعة بل بعضها غريب جدا. Some communities, some countries, some people, they might have what looks like strange for you as far as sets of tradition, especially when it comes to marriage, when it comes to, I was reading today or yesterday something about, I think it's in Iceland or in some other place, that if somebody is proposing to a girl, one of their sets of habits is that he offers her some rats. Some rats, you know, that's like يقدم لها بعض الفئران وكذا. Organic rats? Organic maybe, الله أعلم. فهذه يعني عندنا في مصر كانوا يقدمون للنيل مثلا كل سنة عادة فرعونية يعني. They used to offer for the river Nile to flow every year the most beautiful girl. They used to choose a girl that's a pharaonic يعني قربان أو كذا sacrifice. So العادات تتنوع تنوع شديد. The set of the culture of Americans is different from the set of traditions of Canadians, Mexicans. Even within the same country or community, America is not all the same thing. What's the community in Utah, for example, eat or used to is different from those that people in Florida go by. والإسلام له موقف من هذا. Islam has certain situation or approach dealing with the habits and tradition of people. فتجد في كلام الفقهاء بل في القرآن الله عز وجل يقول خذ العفو وأمر بالعرف وأعرض عن الجاهلين. خذ العفو, take from people what they give easily and what they give like they let go. Do not take people against things from people against their will. خذ العفو وأمر بالعرف, and order or instruct people to follow what's commonly known amongst them. What's urf, custom. You know, order people to go by what's known amongst them. وأعرض عن الجاهلين. فلا شك أن العرف, والفقهاء أخذوا من هذه الآية وغيرها قاعدة فقهية تقول العادة محكمة. العادة محكمة. One juristic rule that the scholars derive from such آيات يقولون the عادة or the tradition or the custom of any place is a reference. You go back to as a reference. But when is it always the rule and we should go by it regardless of anything? لا, يقولون ما لم تصادم شرعا. ما لم تصادم, as long as it does not come in contradiction with anything that Islam came with. So Islam جاء بشيء وترك لنا أشياء عفوا. Islam provided us with set of rules. بعضها محكم, some of it is stable and non-changeable, but many of it is changeable, and a big area is neutral in Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leave it for the customs or the tradition of that community or that society, as long as it does not contradict Islam. So we have to have that right approach towards the tradition. Some people, you know, reject any kind of culture, any kind of sets of rules that people in certain community go by, and that's wrong. But some other people, on the other hand, they go by it as if it is a religion. They have to get married according to this rule. They have to run their affairs according to those habits and customs, regardless, even if they come in contradiction with Islam. So I want to here, as much as I'm talking, or maybe more, we discussed some of those adat or traditions that come in contradiction sometimes with Islam, or makes it hard. Islam gives us an alternative that makes it easy for us, but then some of those customs or traditions, they come to make things harder for us. They become like a trap or prison for us. You cannot, you know, get rid of them, and at the same time, they make the life of people hard. Mainly social, or what I thought of as the social adat, يعني tradition when it comes to khutbah, engagement, marriage, sadaq, al-mahr, هذه الأشياء. So you can come up with more and more of those, inshallah. If you are thinking of any of those traditions, as I'm speaking right now, versus some of the guidance of Islam, please go ahead. Especially the things that have to do with us here as a community. And right now we're trying our best to follow Islam, to adopt Islam. And we are not here to point any fingers to any habits of certain, you know, people or certain countries, but rather to try to find what's best as far as Islam refining our Islam to follow the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what do you think? Did you come across any adat, anything sometimes that you happen to, when you check it, it doesn't come, doesn't go right with the Islamic rules, like the adat or the traditions they talk about?
Like الخلوة قبل الزواج, before they get really married, they are engaged and they can be in khulwa, which is against the tradition, instruction or teaching of Islam.
Now, we discussed this in the khutbah. Seclusion, a boy and a girl. A boy proposed to the girl. Khatibha is the fiancé right now. Then, in some traditions, is that they are almost like married. They go out together, they sit alone in seclusion. We talk about seclusion together, and they go in and out freely, which is not right. And on the other hand, we see some people follow some strict rules, like they cannot even talk to the girl, they cannot have any time to speak to them or anything, which is also wrong. ولكن الخطبة التي جاء بها الإسلام is that it's there, engagement is there before العقد. That's before the marriage, where the boy should talk to the girl. Father and family should allow that, because they should find out from each other what makes them convinced with making that decision and taking that step. Many times, we leave it for after marriage. Let's make the aqd, and then they get married, and then they figure out so many areas of differences. مناطق كثيرة للخلاف وفروق في الشخصيات وفي التفكير وكذا. كان الأولى بهم أن يكتشفوا هذا في فترة الخطبة، حتى يتلافى مغبة الطلاق وهذه الأشياء. What else?
The dowry in the marriage, some families, at least where I grew up, they make it so large, it makes some young men uncomfortable and weak to attain such a large sum of liras and what have you.
No.
So it's more of a custom than it is,
right.
Religion.
So setting up, the dowry to be such a high thing will make a lot of boys or youth refrain from marriage. So it is there, it is the right of the woman and everything, but some traditions makes it in such a way that it becomes hard or impossible. Thousands and thousands. Or some people, out of بعض الناس في مسألة العقود يتغاضى عن المسألة تكون بالتراضي عادة. You are in the beginning, they are getting married, everything is okay, so let's ask for a number, a high number, and the young man, to show his good intention, he would agree, and he should agree, not paying attention. Obviously at this point they are in full agreement, they are just getting married and everything, but things happen down the road. So if you put a big number right now in the contract, and then things happen, you will not be able to fulfill it. So let's be so clear, and let's be realistic as well. And on the other hand, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أيسرهن صداقا أكثرهن بركة. Those who have less of dowry, they will have more of barakah or blessing. So when you get married and things go easy, and you do not end up having to pay a lot of debts and owing a lot of money to other people, that marriage will be full of barakah, versus somebody just to get married, to get to the point of having a wife, a halal relationship, he will end up having to go through so many loans and so many things. He will not feel very much good. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بنته سيدة نساء العالمين السيدة فاطمة. Look at the dowry of his daughter. Look at the dowry that he paid صلى الله عليه وسلم for his wives, any of his wives عليه الصلاة والسلام. It was something there, and it was not like very much, but at the same time it's not like very little, but it's something somewhere there in the middle. وهذه سيدة نساء العالمين, and this is the best of all girls, the سيدة فاطمة الزهراء, for the wives of the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم. ولسنا بأفضل منه عليه الصلاة والسلام. We are not better than him صلى الله عليه وسلم. So let's be somewhere realistic in there to make it easy for you. Not only about marriage, if you have any habits about anything that we come across nowadays.
The note, when somebody dies, they will do like 3 days, and then 7 days, and then the 40 days, and the yearly remembrance of the date of the person.
Yeah, this is one of the common things, especially in the East, and every community may vary. At the case of death, it's the habit of some people to make it, there's aza in the first day or for 3 days, condolences, period to give condolences. In the village where I grow up, for the next 3 Thursdays, for the next 3 weeks, this الخميس أول والثاني والثالث, they receive condolences. And then يوم الأربعين هذا مقدس يعني the 40 days, they make a big kind of reception, and also annually, every year. So العزاء itself, giving condolences, is sunnah. And we mentioned something about the sunnah is that it's, اصنعوا لآل جعفر طعاما, to make food for the people who have the death or grievance or something, to support them. And it is maximum, 3 days. 3 days that you give condolences to this person or to that family. And we have some exceptions. If somebody was traveling and he didn't get the chance to give him condolences, this is an exception. But it's against Islam to keep remembering things, to keep reminding the family coming after a week or 2, 40 days, 1 year, and you keep reminding them of the grievance and problem. يعني هذا فيه يعني عكس الإسلام. حتى بعض الناس يذهبون يحرمون على أنفسهم بعض أنواع الطعام ويحرمون مشاهدة التلفزيون وكذا، والحقيقة جيد يعني. نعم. Yeah, so they wear black clothes for a certain number of days. They don't watch TV. They don't eat specific kinds of foods. So all of these are يعني هذه من العادات المبالغ فيها.
And the wife has to wear black forever.
Forever. الزوجة طبعا الأمر مختلف في حالة الإحداد. الزوجة when the husband died, the period of عدة, she has special rules. She had to go, in a special case where she cannot have any ornament, and usually do not go out for any unnecessary occasions and stuff for the period of عدة after the death of the husband, which goes for 4 months and 10 days. That's a special rule for the wife. But everybody else, العزاء ثلاثة. It's only 3 days. So life will not stop if somebody dies. We believe in it. Everybody has a qadr. It will come to me and you and everybody. So life does not stop in there. ولا يخفى ما في العادات من مسألة الموت. يعني رأينا بأعيننا في بلاد المسلمين من يلطمون ويشقون الجيوب ويعني a lot of people when somebody dies they would slap their faces. They would say words that are literally against Islam. They would object clearly to the qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why did you do that, God? And they will say words like this. يعني من العادات لا أقول الكريهة ولكن المحرمة يعني. This is something حرام. ليس منا من شق الجيوب ولطم الخدود ودعا بدعوى الجاهلية. It is not. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the person who does such things of jahiliyyah, of ignorance, objection to the decree of Allah when somebody dies, he does not belong to us. So we accept qada Allah. بكى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بكى إبراهيم ابنه وبكى يعني غيره. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم used to cry or shed tears when he lost his son. ولكن يقول إن القلب لا يحزن وإن العين لا تدمع وإن لفراقك يا إبراهيم لمحزونون. Indeed, the heart is full of sorrow and the eye shed tears, and we are indeed sad for your death, Ibrahim, talking to his son. ولا نقول إلا ما يرضي ربنا. But we only say what pleases Allah. So this is يعني هدي الإسلام في مسألة الوفاة. وبعد الوفاة طبعا تكلمنا عن المواريث، وهذه من المشاكل الكبرى لا يكاد يخلو منها يعني عائلة إلا من رحم الله. A lot of families, they have problems of inheritance and giving the shares, dividing the shares after the death. We see a lot of problems almost in every family. Part of it is because of ignorance. People do not know the exact rules of Islam, so they go by the set of rules that their family go by, their place go by. Some rules, they make it. Some places they make it a rule that females will not inherit, which is wrong. It's against the Quran. للرجال نصيب مما اكتسبوا وللنساء نصيب مما اكتسبوا. أو للرجال نصيب مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون وللنساء نصيب مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون. Men as well as women, they have shares of what their parents and relatives left behind. إما قل منه أو كثر نصيبا مفروضا, being it little, being it much, this is an obligatory shared. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it or gave it to them. Now, نذكر أنفسنا إن شاء الله. تفضل. مش موجود هنا، موجود. مسألة الثأر. In some places, he's talking about Upper Egypt, and some, I'm not sure if it's present somewhere else. If somebody kills someone from one family, they have to go, regardless, you know, after years and years, they have to kill someone else from that family of the killer, and most of the time they don't kill the killer. They kill someone else, his son or something. They kill the best one, they go for the best one in the family. And this is something.
Sometimes they kill more than one.
Or more than one. Now, like, let's focus on our bad habits in here that we need to stay away from.
Actually, the social acceptance of adat and taqalid versus haram. We see a lot. You know, we pay attention to more of what's socially accepted and forgetting the part that might be halal or haram.
Now, yeah, some people might go by the norms. Aib, what's shame, and they pay so much attention to it, even if sometimes it's not really aib, it's not really a shameful thing in Islam. I don't have any example in mind, but it might come that people think of something as, no, we don't do that, even though in Islam you can do it, and it's sacred for them not to do that or to have this. عندك مثال؟ العوض. نعم. If somebody, this is a very good example. If somebody breaks something, if somebody like hits your car back home, at least, and in many other countries or Islamic countries, it's kind of very shameful that you accept replacement for that. That you accept that he fixes it for you, or that's like very shameful. Even though it's a very Islamic rule that you take. If somebody breaks something, he should take it. He should take the replacement, do the replacement, or fix it or something. So this is shameful. In many people, we don't take the replacement. But it is Islam. So that's a good example in here. Qada al-qadar to happen, but if somebody breaks something,
it happens.
Well, if the person is ready to let it go, then هذا عفو وهذا فضل يعني. This is a favor, or this is something good. If somebody let go, if somebody break my car and I let go, good. That's good from me.
And they have the right to get.
Adl, comes the adl. Still the adl is there, the justice is there. He ended up breaking my car or breaking this and that. قضاء الله وقدره لا شك لا خلاف فيه. لكن he was the tool that broke my car or causes whatever anything that I have to break. So he should fix that. In the same way, if I did the same to him, his property, I should take that. I should fix that.
The fidya, mistake, killing, there's a lot of other.
نعم. Even for الأوش أو الأرش، ما يسمى الأرش بقطع إنسان جرح إنسانا والجروح قصاص. عليها أموال في الإسلام، أموال كثيرة أحيانا تصل إلى الدية تقريبا أو نصف الدية. If somebody hurts someone, all of these things that we have here, it has some kind of Islamic thing. If somebody caused an injury for you because of an accident or something, then I ended up having my hand broken or getting any kind of injury, and someone else was the reason for that, or he caused that, so he should take the pain of that. Now,
Kind of friendship between opposite sex, which is something normal here for tradition.
نعم الاختلاط نعم. The opposites, we have some rules in Islam that between the opposite genders, some etiquettes, some manners, some rules that again we need to pay attention to those. A boy is created differently from a girl. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني وضعوا لنا الضوابط وكذا. We have al-hijab, for example. She should not appear in public without hijab, and that's the physical form of it. She should not, as far as talking, فلا تخضعن بالقول فيطمع الذي في قلبه مرض. They should not talk in such a soft way that lure or entice other people who might have disease or sickness in their heart. and then the way they walk, the way they deal with others, we have some barriers in there. It does not mean that men will be completely separated from or segregated from women, but we are talking about free mixing. Mixing will happen. Mixing men and women, they will come across each other, strange men and women, they will come across each other في البيع وفي الشراء وحتى في المساجد, in masjids, in public places, in occasions. It will happen. But we are talking about some restrictions and some rules and some manners and some adab and etiquettes for that. It should be there. The norm of some society may be more open and more maybe loose sometimes, and the norm of other society on the other hand could be very tough and very strong. So Islam is always somewhere in the middle, where we have some rules. Hijab is there, the way they deal with each other. قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم وقل للمؤمنات. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the direction for the boys or for the believing men, and then the believing women as well, both of them يغضوا من أبصارهم, to lower their gaze. Allah Azza wa Jalla يقول يغضوا من أبصارهم, لم يقل يغضوا أبصارهم. He didn't say let them lower their gaze. If he said let them lower their gaze all the time, then nobody should look at any one of them. But he said من أبصارهم, من للتبعيد يعني. Some of their looks, when it comes, now you're dealing with a girl, with a woman or girl, you have to look at her, talking to her and everything. But then when it comes to looking so deep, and now you like her or she likes you, then this is where you have to stop. Unnecessary way of looking and things like that. هذا هو غض البصر المأمور به. Now, and we should nurture those adat, those good habits, or actually those good manners, Islamic manners. We should pay attention to those. We should teach our kids and our youth that غض البصر is there, and then the more and more you deal with each other, the more this muru'ah or this barrier is gone. So we have to نتكلم في هذه الأشياء ونعلمها أبنائنا إن شاء الله تعالى. Now.
Something else is like hugs between opposite sex, which is not
No. We used to talk about salam, giving salam, and can we give salam? Now we're talking about hugs. And yes, it happened. And it's wrong. It's wrong. And this is something wrong. In the hadith, touching between the opposite gender, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول أن يطعن في رأس أحدكم بمخيط من حديد خير له أن يمس امرأة لا تحل له. If somebody happened to be stabbed in his head with some tool, some metal tool, is better for him than touching a woman that's not legal or halal for him. It's in some cases nowadays, it might be rude in many cases if somebody who does not know nothing about this rule, that a girl, for example, or a woman will give you her hand to give salam. It would be very rude not to give her salam. على أي حال تبقى هذه في حدود الأشياء التي يبتعد عنها المسلمون ما استطاعوا ويستغفروا الله عز وجل أن وقعوا فيها. لكن now we are getting to the higher level, which is hugging. So what will happen with the hugging, and then we go further and further. Obviously, we should stop there. We should have some limit, and we should make our faith clear, especially to the circles around us, the people who work with us or the people who deal with us. We should make ourselves clear to them. And alhamdulillah, we live in a community that respects, because we have so many people coming with a set of rules, what they eat, what they do, what they expect, so we have to make ourselves clear, so we deal comfortably with everybody around us.
there is in a school thoughts about touching salam, like if there's no desire or anything, so it's
والله يتكلمون عن لمس الرجل الكبير، المرأة الكبيرة التي أو الرجل الكبير. Some scholars would say if it's too old, the lady is too old, مما اشتهى وكذا، يتساهلون في هذه المسألة. They will talk about it as easy, but let's leave it there. And Muslims are not rude or anything, but if something happened, instead of trying to turn something from being haram, because we have clear hadith, instead of turning it from being haram into being halal, let's put it there as a red line, and then if it happens, we first of all we make preparations that things like this may not happen. But if it happens, what can you do? Like we had this open house in here. That's my little ijtihad, and people are coming to us, people that we do not know, and it's kind of difficult to make them aware of that. And then they come to you all the way to your place, and then you do not at least give them salam, or I mean shake their hands, يعني you are shutting them off before even talking to them. لكن I'm not saying that this is يعني يقولون إيه الإمام ابن تيمية يقول لا ينبغي أن ينكر على نور فيه ظلمة ما لم يكن لنا نور لا ظلمة فيه. ما لم يكن لنا نور لا ظلمة فيه. So if somebody got some light with a little bit of darkness in it in there, it's better than having nothing, you know, as long as you're going to have a full light. يعني if we don't have ما لا يدرك كله لا يترك جله, and يعني يتجاوز عن المناكر الجزئية في إطار المصلحة العامة وكذا، لكن هذا لا يحول الحرام إلى حلال. That does not turn something that's haram, or at least has a red flag, that does not turn it into a complete green flag, because in some cases we need to have it, or we need to make it, because it's again exceptional. That's not an Islamic society, and the rules of Islam is not there. But we shouldn't go to the hugs. يعني hugs, that's too much. No, I was in a church, and this is a common thing. Sometimes it happened, and a lady was coming to me, and then I told her, no, we don't do that. I said, yes, no, I think it was trying to give me salam, and I told her,
Next.
I have a reservation towards it. She said, yes, that's like our priest, he does not hug. So I told her, yeah, something like this.
You know.
خلاص. في عادات أخرى. Do you have any other traditions? تفضل.
مجالسة الناس الغرب مثلا لما بيقدموا مثلا خمر، يعني
الجلوس
في مجالس الخمر بتحصل دائما يعني.
نعم.
هل هذا
عندنا حديث. I mean, he asking about sitting on the session or table where khamr or wine is served. We have a hadith in this that we should not sit on a session where wine is being served. Like, again, this is the same rule, it depends on the situation. If somebody has power to stop this from happening, like I invite them, or I am the owner of the business or something, it's going to be much different than somebody who's being invited, or somebody who does not have any power over that.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, actually.
Right.
If you have no power, is that okay to be?
If you have no power, again, it depends. You may be invited to a meeting in the company that you work in, and if you do not attend, it's not going to affect much. You're not going to be missed. It's not an important meeting or anything. So better in all of these occasions to avoid them. But in some cases it will happen that you will be invited. It's an essential meeting. Everybody should attend, or at least it will be, it will not sit good with everybody else when you, especially if you have a position, a manager or something, that you do not come. Meaning your existence is necessary. In this case, you attend and you try your best to avoid that. Try your best to, ولن يكره الإنسان هذا بقلبه. You should, هذا أضعف الإيمان إنه ينكر هذا بقلبه. The least thing is that it shouldn't become like part of our life. Okay, we sit in any session where this is served, the wine is served, we نقتحم كل المجالات الحمراء والخطوط الحمراء ونقول هذا خلاص هذه مشاكل الناس اللي بيتكلموا فيه هذا صح انا لا اشرب. لا، عندنا لابد الانسان يكره حتى لا يفقد مروءته واعتزازه بدينه. We should not lose all the whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said as read, even if we do it ourselves, we still do it and hate it in our heart. وهذا أضعف الإيمان. Or if we sit with people like this, we try to eliminate it as much as possible, avoid it. This is a rule that applies to everything. Avoid it as much as possible. But if it's not avoidable, then what can you do? الإنسان يكره ذلك بقلبه واستغفر الله العظيم من ذلك. He hates it in his heart and he asks forgiveness from that. الله أعلم. تفضل دكتور.
Since you mentioned the touch, the man touch ladies and things like that. How about during the engagement? Then they go and I think so many people they go and with the ring and the fiance finger, and sometimes it's okay to kiss her here, things like that. What do you think? She's gonna be the wife?
again, as long as they are engaged, they are khitbah. Engagement, again, this term is different. Engagement in the American, context is kind of marriage, but no, engagement in Islam, it refers to the pre-marriage promise kind of engagement that they are not married. They are still two different people. So all the rules that applies to a strange girl or boy would apply to both of them. And they should avoid that, even though the norm of many societies that he will touch her, he will take his hand and things like that. لكن يبقيها لبعد الكتاب يعني الوقت جاي والزمن جاي ويمسكوا ايد بعض زي ما هم عايزين. إن شاء الله. يعني after marriage إن شاء الله they can save all the kisses and all the touches and everything to after marriage إن شاء الله.
That's a good point.
نعم. تفضل شيخ.
Back to the idea of sitting on the same session and so on while there's drinking. I think this is something we need to take really clear and strong stand. The reason this is a religious issue and it's basic. So regardless whether it's a position or you have a position or you don't, or when you make it clear this is a religious issue and you tell the crowd, the organizer ahead of time, that most of the time they respect that.
No.
And minimum you can be abstain with their knowledge and so on. But in most cases,
Accommodate.
they accommodate, and in fact, one of the things going on annually here, and we are encouraged to participate and say and so on, the Foundation for Gulf Coast State College, where they serve alcohol, but for Muslim, for the time being right now, there are special tables where Muslims sit on these tables where there is no alcohol. But in the session,
No.
like they said, but again, back on the community and so on, when you make it clear and you are strong in it, you can eliminate that
Big percentage.
many times.
جزاك الله خير. طيب. Let's conclude in here and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وانت الغفور الرحيم والله forgive our sins يا رب العالمين. اللهم يسر علينا تطبيق دينك وشرعك يا رب العالمين. اللهم احينا على سنة نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم توفنا على الإسلام الكامل التام وأنت راض عنا ولا تنزعه منا حتى تتوفنا عليه يا رب العالمين. Allah make us live according to Islam يا رب العالمين. Allah make our affairs easy يا رب العالمين. Allah حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان. Make us love faith and إيمان يا رب العالمين. Make it beloved to our hearts and to our kids يا رب العالمين. Make it easy for us يا أرحم الراحمين. O Allah, take us all to الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.